Hello everyone, this is Ravneet Bhalla and I blog at Mercury Imp and I have my own healthy recipes channel by my name only, Ravneet Bhalla. Thank you Vidya for connecting with me here, and I am here before you to speak a little about my experience with millets. Millets are our ancient grains that were always there but we were not aware of them. Even I started using little millet when I was not even aware that it was a millet. Because in North India we usually have Navaratri fasts, and during Navaratri fasts we use little millet rice as a rice substitute. But I was not aware that it was a millet. However, when I ventured into baking, so I realized what different flours were there and how ancient millets, or ancient grains I should say, are rich and can make food nutritious, can make your bakes nutritious. All of us have been using bajra for quite some time, but we were not aware that it was a millet. So bajra is pearl millet. Then I started with little millet. Gradually I entered, I should say, I started using ragi and I fell in love with it. And I think ragi is one of the most common millets in the baking world, because I have seen so many recipes, so many people using ragi or finger millet, that I feel that if you are willing to start baking with millets, you can start with ragi or finger millet, which is very nutritious and you will find it easier to use. However, as far as I am concerned, I tend to use all millets, lentils, legumes, and just about everything in my cookies. So my friends call me cookie queen because I put everything to use in my cookies. So as far as cookies are concerned and my using millets in cookies, I have thus far used pearl millet or bajra, finger millet or ragi, foxtail millet or kangu, and I should say I have used kodo millet as well. But I love little millet, bajra, ragi, and finger millet, kangu, and I especially love kangu or finger millet. It has a distinctive taste, and I can say it has a nutty taste that adds flavor to your bakes. I have baked cookies with it and even burfi as well, and I plan to use it in other bakes like cakes. But I have baked with the ragi, baked cakes with ragi. I started using store-bought millet flours, but gradually I started making my own because the way I make them makes them more nutritious. The store-bought ones, I'm not sure how the store-bought ones are made and milled, but I make my own millet flours by soaking the millets overnight and then drying them the next day. They dry easily under fan and even under sunlight, in the sunlight, and then you can grind them to powder. Yes, I grind them to powder because I don't have any mock mill at home. However, the only difference between store-bought millet flour and what I make at home is that the one I make at home is little gritsy, because it will have grits because it's not milled. It is more like a powder, right? But when you sift the powder, it works excellently in your bakes. Recently I baked moong dal atta cookies. I have baked them previously as well, and they worked perfectly in my cookie recipe. So you can make millet flours at home or buy the store-bought ones, though I prefer to make my own. And the only difference as far as nutrition is concerned, or difference in baking between millet flour that I have bought at that I have purchased and the millet atta that I make at home, is that the one that you make yourself is more fibrous. It has more fiber, it has more extra fiber, it absorbs more moisture compared to the store-bought ones, which has been milled and refined as well. So the only difference will be, if you are using homemade millet flour, it will consume more moisture according to me, compared to a store-bought one. Yeah, as far as the dough for gluten-free cookies is concerned, it depends on what you are baking. If you love chewy cookies, then you can make. I think then what will matter more is the sweetener. If you are more into healthy baking, then you can and enjoy chewy cookies, then you can use dates as a sweetener. I don't like chewy cookies, so that is the only reason which is preventing me from adding dates in my cookie recipes. But I am experimenting, and I think I should be able to come up with a crispy cookie recipe even with dates very soon. And so if you want to make crispy cookies, then the dough for gluten-free flours just like a non-gluten flour should be soft. You can keep it semi-soft. However, if you want melting moments, or if you enjoy more, if you enjoy your cookies more in the form of naan katais or shortbreads, then the dough should be very soft, and you should eliminate milk or the liquid from the dough. So you will get naan katai, which just melts in your mouth. For crispy cookies, you will need to bind the dough at least with little amount of moisture. I usually add 1 tablespoon of milk for dairy cookies and water for vegan cookies. You can substitute water with any plant-based milk if you want, and it should work excellently. Yeah, well, as far as leavening agent or raising agents is concerned in cookies, I believe that we literally do not need raising agents. Baking powder or soda to make crispy cookies, chewy cookies, will never need it, or even naan katais or melting moments. I feel that the right dough consistency, there are a few tricks to making cookies crispy without baking powder and soda, and that is exactly what I do, what I share on my channel and on my blog with everyone. There are a few tips to making cookies without baking powder and soda, and the first tip is that you should always sift your dry ingredients. Second is that you should whip all liquid ingredients. Whip until they look creamy. They should be creamy. You should focus on the creaming process. And third is that your dough should be soft. If it is hard, then your cookies might turn out to be harder. But if you want soft, crispy cookies, then your dough should be soft. It should be loose and soft. It might feel very loose in the beginning when you are trying to give shapes, and gluten-free flour, gluten-free dough is difficult to bind, is difficult to give shapes to. But I have recently shown in my video, in my moong dal cookie video, how you can easily shape a gluten-free dough for cookies. Do check it out, you will love it. And again, the fourth point is to space the cookies evenly so that they bake evenly upside down and along the sides as well. And then you should let your cookies cool down properly before storing so that they stay good forever. Okay, so this is foxtail millet. I hope you can see this, Kangoo or foxtail millet. It has a brown tint. It's organic, and this is little millet, or I guess this is barnyard millet. Yeah, this is barnyard millet. And I have a pack of bajra as well, and this is bajra or pearl millet. Well, I think ragi is the easiest to work with for beginners. I find everything easier to work these days, but for beginners might want to start with ragi first, or finger millet, or nachini as it is known in different languages. However, I feel that once you are aware of the basics, once you are aware of the cookie baking basics, you can bake with literally any flour combination will work like a breeze once you are aware of the basics of cooking. So if anyone has any problem, I can help them out. And you can combine your millet flour with oats if you are happy, or else you can buy a millet flakes as well. You can buy millet flakes and combine with your millet flours to make crispy cookies, completely crispy millet cookies. However, you can bake with one millet flour as well, as I have done in my foxtail millet video. I have also baked with jowar recently, jowar cookies that use nothing else. They are 3 ingredient cookies that use ghee, sweetener, and jowar. I have also baked with olive oil, jowar or sorghum flour, and sweetener, and I prefer using jaggery to any other sweetener. Yeah. As far as shelf life of home baked cookies is concerned, I have not kept my cookies for a very long time. Usually I bake very small batches and they are over in 4 days, or even within a week. And at best I have stored my cookies for 15 days and they stay good. And however, and this was a general opinion in the community itself, that home baked cookies don't stay well for longer. But I have one friend in UK. Yeah, I guess she is in UK, Shruti Rastogi. She shares her feedback on my cookies. In fact, I think she's one person who bakes almost every cookie that I share. She gives me feedback on every cookie, and she told me that she keeps the cookies she bakes very big batches and she keeps them for 1 month. And I was really surprised. I did ask her how did that work, and how did the cookies taste. She said they tasted fresh, they were completely fresh. So the idea behind storing homemade cookies is to keep them, if you want to keep them fresh for longer, you should divide them in small batches. Just divide them in small batches and then open one box. Keep them in separate boxes if you bake a bigger batch. Open one box first, eat it completely, and then open the second batch. So I hope you understand my point. We don't want we don't want the box to be opened unless you are ready to eat. So that should keep them fresh for longer in airtight boxes, in airtight containers, and they should stay good. I feel so. As far as weather is concerned, I don't think it plays a role in my cookie doughs, but it does play a role in the stability of the fat. So it depends on the type of fat you use. Since I prefer using ghee for my cookies and sometimes butter, and I use solid ghee as opposed to what the baking bible tells you to use all ingredients at room temperature. I use solid ghee, I use refrigerated ghee, I use refrigerated butter. So if it is summertime, you need to refrigerate your ghee and butter at least for 30 minutes before baking. But in winters, you don't need to refrigerate your ghee, your fat. So I feel that that a solidified fat product gives is easier to whip. It creams really well. That is my experience, and it has always given me the best results as opposed to using a fat at room temperature. So this is my experience. That is why I always say that I have broken all baking bible rules in my experimentation process, in my experimentation spree. I have broken all baking rules. I don't know to what extent they are correct, but they have been giving me perfect results, and so many of you have been following my recipes, my cookie recipes, and have got amazing results, and that really gives me, that makes me so happy. I literally feel on cloud 9 most of the time when I get your feedback. So that's it. If it's too hot, you can refrigerate the dough. It is irrespective of whether the dough is millet dough or gluten-free dough or glutenated dough. You can refrigerate it for 30 minutes and then you can bake cookies. However, many people feel that refrigerated dough is really difficult. It is tough to roll out. So my suggestion is to roll out the dough first. Roll out the dough, give it cookie shapes, and then refrigerate those cookie shapes for 30 minutes and then bake immediately. That will give you the best results. I feel so. I hope that makes sense.